All right, all right, all right. Welcome to Scientology Outside of the Church podcast. This is Quentin Stroud on the line with Arthur Madakis, and we're brought to you by ao-gp.org and College of Independent Scientology.com. Listen, if you want to get some services or training, please go to the website and message us, and we will contact you ASAP. All right, so we're going to dive into this, and I'm really super excited about this because there was a lecture by Ella Race that I was listening to, and I come across this couple of paragraphs where he goes into talking about ability. All right, and so today we're going to be talking about willingness to execute. Arthur, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. It's good to be back home and still adjusting to the weather here, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's a little colder down there in Australia. I totally get it.
Yes.
And I'm here in Malaysia where it's hot, and I'm actually got the aircon on right now. So yeah. Um,
Yeah.
so we're gonna dive into this because I think that this is a really, really powerful subject, and we're not gonna be before you long, but we're talking about willingness to execute. So I want to read the reference here from LRH. It is taken from the 24th of January, 1957, and it is called Auditing Techniques, Altering Cases. So LRH says this. He said, techniques. The whole subject of techniques, as I told you yesterday, breaks down into a gradient scale, the reality of which is most important for a Homo sap at the havingness scale level. The tolerance type of technique to increase his willingness, to be, do, have, confront, create, his willingness to. There's no doubt about his ability to. His willingness is always, I'm sorry, his ability is always there. He goes on to say that if you're going to increase somebody's ability, give up. It's a lie. It's a lie that you're going to increase anybody's ability. You increase instead their ability to demonstrate their ability. Hear that? You increase
What's
instead their ability to demonstrate their ability. Go ahead.
all right? So let's go back a little bit, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we've got three elements so far: gradient,
Mm-hmm.
ability, and willingness, right? And
Yes.
so just those three things right there, because how often do we jump straight into a higher gradient thinking we have the
Ooh,
ability and then we lose our willingness? The
that's so
willingness is
right.
there. Um, and so what I find interesting about the way LRH puts his words together, like it's so hard to mess it up, but you've also got to be so attentive to what he's actually saying.
That's right.
Because those three words, just in that paragraph, two paragraphs that you read out, there's so much in those two paragraphs.
Mm. Yeah. And if you
And
think about it, maybe even as a child, like you, children have the willingness to pretty much do anything, right? They'll jump off a tree or they'll, think they can
yeah,
fly or whatever. I remember I
yeah,
literally, when I saw Mary Poppins, I literally would jump off the top of my house with an umbrella
yes.
to see if I can float.
And then you realize with such an impact that you took on a very steep gradient.
Right. This is things. And so if we're in independent Scientology, whether it be through auditing, whether it be through running drills, we just did the pro TRs and the professional drills where allowing you to communicate effectively. What we're doing is you're not practicing. I think this is really good. You're not practicing, you're actually regaining the willingness to demonstrate the ability to have your TRs in, to confront, to communicate, to
Yeah.
acknowledge, to get a person to continue to talk, so forth and so on. You're actually demonstrating the ability because it's already been there.
And ability is an interesting word. So what is ability? What does ability mean?
Let's clear that. Let's see. Ability is defined as possession of the means or skills to do something. Possession of the means or skills to do something.
And then what about willingness?
And willingness is, let's see, willingness is the quality or state of being prepared and ready to do something. Hmm.
Isn't it interesting? Those two words correlate, don't they?
Yeah, because you have to have the means and skills and be prepared and ready to do it.
Yep.
Yeah. And I like
Yep.
how you brought out that even that looks like a gradient, right? So
Mm.
whether it's too steep a gradient and you just kind of jump off the house, or it's what seems like a lower gradient and you have to kind of gradually increase your willingness to demonstrate that ability. So I think that's interesting that you pointed that out.
Yeah, because like even to increase your ability requires a lot of awareness around where you're actually at and a sense of honesty as well. Because if you're trying to achieve something, you have the willingness and you have the drive and you believe you have the ability, but then once you get into it, then you realize maybe you don't have the ability. Um,
Mm,
and and I think what's really interesting how he's put it out with a gradient aspect as well. Like if you could be honest enough with yourself, you won't blow at that point, because you'll actually recognize, okay, I've gone too steep a gradient here. Let's go back. And your willingness will not fade. Your willingness will still be there, but now it's a matter of creating more ability, refining your ability, learning your ability to get to that point.
yeah.
Um, that's really interesting.
Well, what comes to mind, even as you were just saying that, um, is when Mozart. I think Mozart was deaf, right? And was it Mozart that was deaf? Beethoven was
Beethoven.
deaf. Yes, all right.
Yep.
Beethoven was deaf. And from what I remember, this was years ago in school, he would have to put his ear
Mm,
to the floor and feel each note. Doom, 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 doom. He would have to feel the vibration of each note. And he was able to create amazing music that way, right? And so the ability was there. It had nothing to do with physiology, had nothing to do with the eardrums or whatever, whatever. The
yep.
ability was there because the willingness was there.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I like
Yes.
that. I like
Yes.
that. The ability was always there. It was the willingness to demonstrate it, as LRH said. So I want to finish reading this particular reference
Yep.
because
Yep.
he says then you increase instead their ability to demonstrate their ability. The ability is always there, but something happens to the ability to demonstrate it. See, that's a little bit slippy, but it's for sure the route. And he gives an example. He says, now you have to know that, or you will go on trying to increase somebody's ability directly. And you would think then, if he practices long enough at balancing a ball on the end of his nose, he'll be able to balance a handball on the end of his nose. And there are more sports coaches throughout the world who believe this implicitly, who continue to have stinking teams. If he just bats the ball long enough, he will eventually bat the ball. I call to your attention that Babe Ruth had more or less the same number of home runs at the end of his career as at the beginning. Quantity of home runs had nothing much to do with his ability. Well, what's that all this all about? Every other teammate he ever had was as able to bat home runs as Babe Ruth, but not as willing to demonstrate it. That's about the whole score. And when you understand that it is the willingness to execute the ability, which is at fault, and not the ability, you will stop pulling the same kind of boo boo that is pulled by all these coaches. So, LRH, so I want you to note that whatever it is that you're seeking to accomplish, whatever it is that you're seeking to do, the ability as a being, as a Thetan, the ability is there. It is the willingness to execute or demonstrate that ability that's at fault per LRH. And so as we get into these training routines that we do in Independent Scientology, as we get into the conversations and auditing, as we go into training on the College of Independent Scientology, all of these things are not to give you more ability. You're going to be superpower, No, the ability is always there, whatever it is. So right now, this is for me. I can sing, and I feel good about knowing that. I feel good about knowing that I can sing. Now, my willingness to demonstrate that effectively, I'm gonna work on it.
But it's a very powerful concept. And like there are so many things running through my mind around this concept right now. Um, because it gives a whole new edge on the word willingness as well.
Mm,
Because, how often have you found yourself trying to achieve something and you just feel like you're beating a dead horse?
hmm
Um, and then do you practice? Do you like what is that pivotal moment when your ability comes through? Or is it a matter of recognizing what your actual ability is, that you can put willingness towards? Because there are so many things we can do in this world. So many of us can change a car tire. So many of us can drive on the same road as, millions of other people.
right.
So many of us can cook. So many of us can do so many things. But then when it comes to, say, Babe Ruth, surrounded by so many other players, so many other sports professionals, what is it that actually made him stand out above the rest?
hmm
And was it, as LRH says, his willingness to make that happen?
Willingness to execute it, yeah. And I
Yeah.
think that as we're listening to this podcast and talking about this, you know, look over your life and look over areas where you want to demonstrate in a higher way, in a greater way, right? You want to demonstrate better, whether it be financially, whether it be relationally, whether it be physically, like your body presentation. Like you want to demonstrate better, greater, more, and yet it's not the ability that's missing. The ability is always there. It's the willingness to demonstrate that I think is at fault. And so, what we're going to do is we're going to dive deeper into how we start to increase that willingness, right? Because as get this, as we're increasing our awareness level, right? As we increase our awareness level, which is if you look at the grade chart, right up the middle of the grade chart. On the left hand side is the technical side or the training side, and on the right hand side is the auditing or the processing side. So wherever you are on the grade chart, wherever you are on the bridge, as you increase up the bridge, so too does your ability or your awareness, should I say, of who you are, your awareness of your ability, your awareness of what you can be, do. How did he say it? Let me go back up to it. He says, um, he says to increase his willingness to be, do, have, confront, create, his willingness to. And all of that is already there in you. It's just increasing your willingness to be, to do, to have, to confront, to create. This is so good.
And it actually makes me really reflect on while we were practicing the TRs, because there were so many, how do I say it? Like there were so many different levels going through the TRs, and like so many phases that we had to confront to get to a certain point. And it's funny how he says it as far as the ability goes, because right at the end of it, you recognize that you do have the ability. And it's kind of funny because we chase the ability initially to be like, I need to be this way, right? It's like our mindset where it's just like, I need to perform in this way, right? But
Right.
then when the ability sets in, it's just so natural. And it's just like, oh, that's it. Like
Yeah.
it's so easy.
And you got it.
It's so easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because so many times throughout that, I wanted to blow. Like, how many times did I get cranky or I'm like, jam this and blah, blah, blah. But that was only me confronting aspects of me that were preventing my ability. My willingness was there, and the ability was there somewhere. I just couldn't see it at that time until I saw it. And then I'm like, holy crap, it's
Yeah.
really that easy. It's
Yeah.
really that easy.
Well, and we look at whether it be actors or singers or people who uh what we would say have a natural talent. That's a fair word, right? A fair assessment.
Yeah.
People who have seemingly have a natural talent. I want to look up the definition of talent. Um,
Hmm.
Natural aptitude or skill. Okay. Yeah. So people who have a natural talent, we look at them and they seem to make it so easy. Whether it be Denzel Washington, just today we lost Diane Keaton, which is a famous American actress. She passed away today, unfortunately. But amazing actress. Absolutely amazing. She was in movies like Father of the Bride and um, First Wives Club, which is one of my favorites, First Wives Club. But she's absolutely amazing actress, and they make it seem so easy, right?
Hmm.
And so there's this idea that if I don't have the natural skill, what did it say? Natural aptitude or skill, talent. If I don't have the natural aptitude or skill as a talent, then it's something I just can't do. That's the thought. The
Yes.
thought is if I don't have this natural aptitude that just came innately with this lifetime, then I just can't do that this lifetime. Well, I would beg to differ, and I would go on to say a little bit differently that even if it's not a natural skill or a natural aptitude, that does not mean the skill or the aptitude is not there for you, is not there with you always, is how LRE says it. It's always there. It doesn't mean it's not always there. It just might not be your natural or innate way of expressing. You didn't have that willingness from earlier on. And let me tell y'all something. When I come out with my album, I like because I'm
I
gonna
could see
be
you doing Christmas songs.
I'm gonna be in somebody's studio. I'm telling you now, because LRH said I could do it.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, 100%.
yeah. So we think that if we don't have that natural skill or talent, that is something that is just not meant for me, or it's just not meant for me to aspire to or accomplish or do. What I would say is that if the desire is there, right? If the desire is there, then I think that we just talked about the CDEI scale, CDEI, curious, desire, enforced, inhibited, and there's more above and more below, but just if the desire is there, that's still an uptone kind of way of viewing the matter, right? Because at least there's a desire, there's a mild interest or a high interest in doing something. So if you want to be a millionaire, I don't know who I'm talking to because, oh boy, if you want to not have to worry about money, and if you want to be a millionaire and the desire is there, it might not be a natural skill or aptitude. It might not be something that your grandmama, dad, and them and all passed down to you. It might not be something that just came with this body expression, and yet the skill is available to you if you choose it.
If you have the willingness, because desire and willingness are two different things,
That's
right?
good.
It's one thing to desire something, because desire is like an observer's point. You're not actually doing.
That's right.
You know what I mean? It's not until you bring the willingness in, recognize where you sit on that gradient to get to that goal at the end. Um, I mean, the desire can create a willingness force,
Hmm.
100%. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But only if you add the willingness to that desire. You know,
Yeah.
so Eve desired the fruit from the forbidden tree, right? But she also had the willingness to take from it.
To go get it.
You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
So
Because with the I'm sorry, go ahead, finish your flow. Sorry.
yeah, like she actually had to take action You know what I
Yeah.
mean? She had to turn her desire into physical movement, into motion, into meshed universe. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because that desire is not in the meshed universe, it's in your own mind universe. And it's not until you put willingness to it, now you can start creating that. Now you can start learning the skills you need to learn. Now you can start to look at the things that are preventing you. Because, like you say, with singing, and singing is a really good example because we all have a voice.
Right.
And, some voices are more desirable than others, but it doesn't mean all voices can't be desirable. I've been in circles before where we've done meditations and we've done singing or chanting, and people that have never sung in their life, it just makes this incredible, incredible powerhouse.
Mm.
Every unique voice. So that says to me, yes, everybody can sing if they have the willingness to open their mouth and let sound come out of it.
Right. LRH, in this lecture, LRH goes on to say that he says, how about a schoolboy? How about a schoolboy who has been going along all right? And one morning he says, I am sick, mama. I cannot go to school. What happened? He's unwilling to be a schoolboy. See, he's unwilling to. Now, uh, how about his ability to learn arithmetic? Well, his ability to learn arithmetic was met up with an unwillingness to learn arithmetic. See, that's very, very much to the point. And he goes on to talk about what deteriorates in the individual. It is something so easily monitored by an auditor that it'll rather frighten him one day or another to find out that he can turn up or turn down uh, without the power of choice of the pre-clear. So many abilities on the pre-clear that the pre-clear himself is terrified. You can do this. So it's interesting as a skill auditor can turn up or turn down one's ability, so many abilities on the pre-clear. Again, the abilities are always there. It's just a matter of being able to help him or her, the pre-clear, to decide that there's a willingness to show that up, right? To demonstrate it. It says, and the pre-clear will actually have an awful hard time getting his own willingness to do such a thing straightened out. And so we go through life and we have a hard time trying to figure out, I know I want to do this, I know I want to do this, I know I want to do this, but having a hard time trying to straighten it out, right? And so this is what we run into because that something has deteriorated our willingness to demonstrate the abilities that we desire to demonstrate.
And then going through the processing, you start to see where that deterioration actually sits. And then you start to recognize that deterioration. And then you're like, oh, why am I even bothering with that? Is
Yeah,
that, why am I letting that
you'll just
affect
give
me?
up. You'll just go into apathy on it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah,
So go ahead.
it's really quite incredible the creation of independent Scientology, like the things that it can bring out in you that were already there. Like
Yes.
it's already there. Like it's the most uh, um, ironic thing. Like there's such an ironic aspect to this because we all have the ability to do
Yeah.
whatever that is. Like whatever that is.
Be,
Like
do,
it's
and have.
incredible.
Hmm.
Be, do, and have.
Yeah. And so if anybody even vaguely kind of follows this route, right? And I'll say this, there are those that desire it. There are those that like I know I need to be doing something. I know I need to be in session. I know I need to be on course, right? There's those that know they need to do this, and then there's those that are willing to do, right? Which willingness again is about readiness and commitment to take action. And so you can got kind of get the desire that I need to be on course. I want to get in session. I want to get some auditing done. I want to get some processing. And if that's there, where we what do we need to do to increase the willingness to get you there, right? The willingness to get you in session, the willingness to get you to tap in, because even understanding that there's a plethora of auditing techniques. There's a plethora of processes. There's even just group processing, right? And what we're going to be doing is releasing some group processing to those that are in the College of Independent Scientology. So just so you know, if you're not already in the College of Independent Scientology, go on to collegeofindependentscientology.com and register and create your account. What we're going to start doing is those people who are active, those people who are tapped in, those people who are, when you go in, create your account and just make one little post. Hey guys, I'm here. Hey guys, I'm here. Say whatever. And what we're going to do is we're going to make it available where you can just start getting some group processing. You can start getting some help like immediately, right? For those that are wanting to be a part of the inner circle and do what we're trying to do. The idea here is that there's a plethora of auditing techniques that you can take advantage of and processing techniques that you can start doing right away. And if you start putting these things into effect, to whatever degree your willingness
Yep.
increases, what comes out of that? What benefit? You have no idea. What does Johnson say all the time? Ellery says the hardest thing to spot is a missingness. If you don't even
Yes.
know that you can do it, what happens when that door turns on, or the door opens up and the light turns on, and you're able to do something that you've never thought you could do before, like be happy, right?
Yeah.
Like be
Yeah.
emotionally at peace, like
Yeah.
like pull in for me $106,000 one check from one meeting. Meeting took just under an hour. $106,000 check. The guys slid it across the table just like that. The check. So I never thought I could do it, right? And
Yep.
yet the ability is always there. It's the willingness to execute or the willingness to demonstrate your ability that we're running up against.
And at the moment you have a taste of your first win, like that will get you moving to more wins. Because and it's not until you experience it, it's not until you have it, it's not until you've done it that you're like, holy crap, like, what have I been waiting for? What have I been waiting for? And then you have one win, and then you just want to chase more after that because now you know you have the ability to win. Now you know you have the ability to make gains. Now you know you have the ability to be you. And like that's what's so incredible about these processes because as you go through, you start to recognize who you actually are versus who you thought you were, which is a whole bunch of
Yes.
nonsense, just politely.
No offense. The you that you are right now is a bunch of nonsense because there's a you
Yeah,
that you are like really are, that
yeah.
is so much greater.
Well, it really sorts out the desire versus the ability because we desire to be a certain way, but then recognizing that you have ability, dude, you latch onto it. And that's where you really start moving. When you recognize you have ability towards something, then you're unstoppable. It's one thing to desire to be a singer, but your ability might be uh, working with accounts, for example. You might be incredible at accounts, and that will bring you more wealth than, say, perhaps your singing skill. But it's not until you know and you can separate your desire, your perspective on what you think your fantasy world is versus your real world, whatever that is. And it can literally be anything. But if you can't see it, then you won't have any willingness towards it.
Exactly. You won't even, if you never even think you can, you'll never even try. And that goes
Yep.
for getting started. That goes for building the life that you desire. That goes for building the relationships and the body that you desire. That goes for having the things that you want to have. If you never even think you can, you'll never try. And LRA says
Yep.
here, he continues on here in the lecture. He says, okay, let's see, he says, but on anybody that will follow them even vaguely. This phenomena of brilliance and perception and so on in the creation of pictures, I assure you will occur. Pretty long bow for me to be throwing in your direction. Of course, you're immediately monitoring postulates. This is interesting. So, what he's talking about when he's talking about this ability or willingness to execute your ability, right? He says, of course, you're immediately monitoring postulates. You're making him make up his mind. Bang. See? Very direct. You're making him make up his mind, and he'll do it with that result. And so that's what auditing allows you to do. It makes you make up your mind. Nobody's telling you how to feel. Nobody's telling you what to think. Nobody's telling you,
Yes.
evaluating for you. With proper auditing, with what we do here in Independent Scientology, you're making him make up his mind. Very direct. Bam. What's the postulate? And when you spot it, I'm telling you what I know, not what I read out of a book. Okay. When you're in session, you're on the chaos and you spot that I've been having this, literally, I had a postulate that husbands beat. That was a postulate. Husbands beat your ass, and that's what they do. And many times has it been done. Okay. And yet I had to go back and handle that erroneous thought, right? I had to handle that postulate and I had to release it and move on from that. And then get this and create a new postulate for how to be and have a better 2D, right? And what ends up happening is you start to create a better experience all the way around, and you never knew it was even there. I didn't know that was there. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man,
Yeah. It's really quite incredible what actually lies underneath. And it's not until you see it and you recognize it that you're just like, wow, that is just mind blowing. And not only that, the moment, as you say, you create a postulate, that becomes your new magnetism. That becomes your new attractive
point of attraction.
force.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if, as you said, if you have that kind of postulate inside of your being, then it's obvious, it's a no-brainer, what you're going to bring into your life.
Yeah.
Just that, like it's so simple in nature, really, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
it's so simply stupid, but then at the same time, like to weave through all that mess and all that gunk. Um,
It's a lot of confront.
and even that, it is a lot of confront, but it actually doesn't take long to get through either, which
True.
which is you can do it in this life. You don't have to wait till the next life. You don't
Right.
have to pause and be like, oh, I'm stuck in this life. I'll just wait till the next life. The next one will be better. I learnt my lessons this life. You're sitting on your hands with those
Yeah.
kinds of thoughts. Um,
And and
there's so
and,
much
and
to
it's
offer,
apathy. Go ahead.
and it is apathy. Yeah, you've given up before you've even started.
hmm Yeah.
You know.
And not only going clear, for example, in this lifetime, like uh we were working on this idea called go clear in a year. Go clear in a year. And it's like give yourself 365 days. Give yourself that that designated time, because time is just a consideration, right? Give yourself that designated time. And it could be sooner than that, right? It could be sooner than that. It's like you never know when you get that clear cog and you just like, boom, yes, I'm ready, right? But go clear in a year is kind of giving yourself the permission to be willing to do the work, willing to go in and deal with those engrams and those postures and that stuff. I remember back when I was doing just co-auditing, book one co-auditing, and we would run it and we did over 400 hours of book one co-auditing because we were that willing and dedicated to execute this. This is something. I mean, just looking at Dianetics, this is something, and I want to see what something can come out of this. You know what I mean? Look at that being clear. That's something. I want to see what something clear has. And then now being OT myself, like I want to see what OT got, you know? And so it's the willingness to execute,
Yeah.
the willingness to become that which I know myself to be is so powerful. So we got about a few more minutes left, and I just wanted to just encourage each of you to go ahead and go on the college of independent Scientology.com, register and get your own account, put a post so that we know that you're a real person and not like a robot or something. And then um, if there's anything that you need, anything that you like, I gotta get through this. I gotta break my own walls down. Please, please, please reach out to us. Comment down below. Let us know, and we'll support you in that.
Yeah. And look, the free courses on there will give you gains. You just need to see it through. You know what I mean? So, because quite often the confront aspect can be quite scary. And so see it through to completion, and then you'll get your EP, you'll get an end phenomena, then you'll recognize your ability, then you'll recognize the power of this tech. And and it's so simple in nature as well. Like you really can't mess it up. The only way you'll mess it up is just by not doing it. But
Yeah,
that's the only thing that will actually mess it up is
that's good.
starting and not completing it. Um, even I mean, sure, I did the Pro TRs course, but you can do those TRs in just the free communication course.
Hmm.
And the things those TRs have brought into my life, the level of confront I now have, and I'm not talking aggressive confront. I'm talking the ability to be able to say how I feel and what I'm thinking appropriately, not
Yeah,
inappropriately, or not with fear, or not with this underlying emotion where my stomach's turning and how do I handle this? I just want to, you don't
right.
need to do any of that. Um, like, and if anybody's curious, I highly recommend just start with a com course.
A communication
Just
course.
start there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then get in touch so we can get you through the training routine, so we can help you through the TRs and just really smash it out. Um,
And let me tell you
just
something. And Arthur, he's not lying when he said what he just said, because he came at me recently. He came, but
But
not
how
in
good
a
was
not
it?
in an aggressive way. It was a great communication that he originated, and I totally duplicated him, totally understood what was going on, and was able to respond. And it was pretty long, lengthy response, but I was able to really respond and address what was going on, what needed to be communicated, and it was totally, in my opinion, totally as is the whole matter, and things immediately shot back up toe, and it was
Yeah.
no issue. It was no breakdown and fighting and bickering and catty and da-da. You know how the stuff that people run into in the today's
Yes.
world. It's just none of that.
Yes.
So this is some good stuff, guys. And so anyway, I appreciate you guys for tapping in to this, on behalf of ao-gp.org, Jonathan Burke, and as executive director, the College of Independent Scientology.com, Arthur Madakis, and myself, Quinn Stroud. I welcome you into all this amazing abilities that you are and that you have. And now we're going to help you execute it and demonstrate it more properly. Anyway, love you guys so much. Thank you. Namaste and goodbye.
Bye bye.